Good day, everyone. I am Eva Evangelio Pacayra, taking a PhD in clinical psychology at the University of Santo Tomas, Manila, Philippines. I, together with my advisor, Dr. Rosila Obanse, is currently working on a study with the title Development of Family Core-Based Intervention Program on the Trauma Symptoms Among Family Members of Victims of Drug-Related Violence. Recent researches have focused more on the effects of drugs on individuals. However, studies on the influences of drug-related violence on family members' trauma symptoms are very limited. According to Whaley and Sugarman in 2017, trauma can be interpreted and understood in many different ways. But for this paper, it is defined as a result of seeing or experiencing a family member being randomly arrested or detained, kidnapped, tortured, and killed due to involvement in drug-related activities. Cases about the families of victims during the fight against drug and therefore the trauma such families or victims suffered nationwide were reported. In 2015, the Philippine Dangerous Drugs Board provided an estimated number of 1.8 million drug users. The scarcity of data on the symptoms of trauma among family members of victims of drug-related violence is unfortunate because it serves as basis for developing a holistic intervention program that will benefit not just the substance abuser or victims, but also the families and therefore the entire community. The current study aims to develop and implement the FAMCOR-based intervention program for the trauma symptoms of the participants. The FAMCOR-based intervention is a combination of family therapy, cognitive behavior therapy, and reality therapy. The study attempted to first determine the components of the FAMCOR-based intervention program, second, to determine the level of the participants' trauma symptoms, third, to determine the significant change in the level of the participants' trauma symptoms before and after the implementation of the FAMCOR intervention program. The current study utilized the mixed methods or sequential exploratory, which is a combination or integration of qualitative research and quantitative research. Here, the initial qualitative phase is followed by the quantitative phase to develop the family core-based intervention program for an experiment. Both the qualitative and the quantitative results were used as a basis for the development of the family core-based intervention program designed by the researcher to alleviate the trauma symptoms among the participants. The current study was conducted in Taguig, one of the major cities in the National Capital Region here in the Philippines. Focus group discussions was conducted to the informants. Employing a single-stage sampling procedure, 9 participants were identified and selected to represent the population of those family members of drug users or pushers who were victims of drug-related violence in the community. Among the 9 participants, only 5 got the intervention and post-test. The other 4 were locked down due to enhanced quarantine brought by COVID-19 pandemic. Most of the participants were females. Majority of them were within the retirement age. All of the participants were Catholics and received elementary, high school, and college education, but most of them were not employed. Majority of the participants are mothers of the victims. 44% of the victims experienced either being randomly arrested or detained. 33% were killed and 22% were kidnapped and tortured. Civilian clothes operation have the highest incidence of apprehension, which is 56%, and police in uniform apprehension were 44%. Moreover, the following are the reasons why the victims were apprehended. 33%, a person is an addict. 22%, an individual knows a lot. 22% did not remit payment. 11% did not surrender. And 11% pushers. Teams were explored and identified from the qualified 9 participants who were selected employing a single-stage sampling procedure and revealed the subsequent results. First, we have disbelief. Second, depression, which includes helplessness, guilt, and emotional pain. Third, anxiety arousal or fear. Fourth, anger. Fifth, intrusive experiences. And sixth, defensive avoidance. Results of the pre and post test were analyzed and showed that there was a significant difference in post-traumatic stress or trauma factor measured by the trauma symptoms inventory. The participants' high scores on the clinical scales and SCAP scales, like intrusive experiences, defensive avoidance, anger, and depression, prove that the event of random detention or arrest, kidnapping, torturing, and killing caused psychological distress or trauma among the family members of victims of drug-related violence. In the study of Kayes et al. In 2014, it was found out that sudden loss of a beloved family member, a friend, isn't easy, especially if the person wasn't prepared to lose his or her loved ones. Using the descriptive statistics embedded within the IBM statistical package for the social sciences, SPSS version 17, data were analyzed to summarize the perceived pre- and post-test of trauma symptoms and details of trauma indicators by participants' drug-related violence using the FAM4-based intervention scale. Commonly used measures of central tendency or mean and variability, standard deviation or variance, minimum and maximum values of the variables were included within the description of data. For the qualitative part, the researcher made use of the survey form and aide-memoire during the focus group discussion among the barangay chairpersons and area or team leaders. For the quantitative part, the researcher purchased the Trauma Symptoms Inventory tool. It is a worldwide tool used for assessing trauma symptoms or trauma consequences. It was designed as a broad spectrum assessment of trauma-related symptoms and behaviors. It focuses on the effects of both early and late onset trauma. It contains 136 items regarding post-traumatic stress and other effects linked to a traumatic incident. The victim's sudden arrest, detention, and death caused psychological distress to the bereaved family members, hence experiencing trauma symptoms. The findings within the current study complement the findings of previous studies of Templeton et al. In 2017, McIntosh et al. In 2015, and Kayes et al. In 2014. Hence, this initial result is encouraging because the program was successful in alleviating the trauma symptoms among family members of victims of drug-related violence. The final run of the FAMCORE intervention program to be subjected to true experimental design is recommended. That's all. Thank you for listening.